Oh no, another lost daily? Never mind, the very first item in our treasure room is Dark Judas. So greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the daily run, and today we're playing as Dark Judas. Well, not exactly yet because I'll respawn later, but obviously whenever you get a respawn item as the lost, it's usually a sign of good fortune. And especially something as powerful as Dark Judas, you know that this run is going to go well. There's pretty much no way this can go wrong, right? Well, this isn't a fake out, this daily doesn't actually go wrong. It's extremely strong. It does have that little side nagging feeling of being a month's food daily, which means that if it's gonna be a good daily, there's pretty much some universal law stating that we're not gonna find a way forward. And this is exactly what happens. But enough about that. You can see that I'm actually not responding yet as Dark Judas, and the main reason for that is, first of all, I want to get those devil deals, because when you're the lost, you get the devil deals for free, and if there's any chance of me finding anything decent in there, I want to pick it up first as the lost, and only then would I respawn as Dark Judas. And that's exactly what I did. You have to remember that when you respawn as Dark Judas, you're left with 2 black hearts, and that's just not enough to pick up anything of significance, because when you have black hearts or spirit hearts, the devil deals cost 3 hearts, so unless we find a way to get another red heart, which could have been actually done with that cat, but obviously we didn't know that beforehand, I just figured I'm gonna be the lost, pick up, in this case, Brimstone and Gimpy, and only then respawn as Dark Judas, and now we have the benefits of both having some of the best items in the game, while also actually dishing out quite a lot of damage. So with Brimstone and 7 damage, we're pretty much guaranteed to win this daily no matter what. There's really nothing that can go wrong here. So now what we're on the lookout is ways to maximize our score beyond just having these good items. So that includes, of course, getting as much exploration in as possible, which means trying to find every secret room and every second secret room, while also trying to kind of minimize and maximize how many times we go to the shops, do the boss trap rooms, do the challenge rooms and things like that, and hopefully if we do all of those things correctly and not get hit too many times, we should be looking at a good rank, just because this is one of those dailies which I feel like can be very optimized, and every decision that you make matters. And you might have noticed that I didn't pick up that cat early on, and the main reason for that is that cat has this nasty property that when you pick it up, it actually counts as 9 items. And this is something I never have mentioned before, but I think it never really mattered. But in this particular daily, because this only goes to Mom's foot, and if you don't find a way forward, that means we're looking at a score about 24,000 to 25,000 if you play our cards right. So if you pick up something, or I would say any damage penalty or any penalty in general that we will incur, is gonna be relatively bigger as opposed if our run actually went to something like Mega Satan. So that means if you lose 200 points, that can actually be quite a lot of scores on the ranking. I remember one time I was checking my scores between myself and I think Northern Lion at that point, and there was something like a 2,000 point difference, which is not that big in all things considering, because you know the runs can go to something like 30, 40, 50,000, but the rank difference was actually even bigger than that. It was a 2,000 rank difference for I think 2,000 points, something like that. It was essentially a huge difference, and that's exactly the penalty that incurs whenever you're playing a Mom's Food daily. And of course, that just one single item pickup is not gonna make too big of a difference, but obviously if you count that in alongside other little optimizations that you can make, like picking up all the consumables, you can end up with something like 1,000 point difference from playing smart, so to say, or trying to optimize your run, as opposed to just playing like you regularly would and wouldn't really go into those minute details. And I felt like this was very important for this daily, just because it had a very low ceiling of success, which means that I expect pretty much everyone will be fast enough to get the boss rush and complete it and find all of the items that I found, and also Brimstone, Dark Judas and things like that, because they're pretty much given to you. So I would expect a lot of people would get a good score. So being very methodical and kind of optimizing a run is very important in this particular one if you want to get a good score. Of course, there are other things that you can do in order to maybe get a better ranking or a better chance of a higher ranking, and the majority of that is just find a sacrifice room and sacrifice your health with it. And what would have been the right decision to make in this particular run, looking back at it, would be to use that restock machine that we had, I think, on the 5th floor, something like that. Basically use that to get as many spirit hearts as we possibly could, buy as many cards as we possibly could, to hope that maybe something good out of it. And then when we got enough spirit hearts, then just use the first sacrifice room that we find on Caves 1, I think, to sacrifice our health away and go to the dark room, and that would have netted us with more points overall than if it just did boss rush and exited the run here. There was a little bit of a bummer, because I actually did try to maximize my score a little bit more, or try to get an AWAS rune or whatever, by going back out after I had the polar Polaroid and into the arcade. So I'm just playing the arcade machine, the stock machines, and also the blood bank because I have the Polaroid, so I thought this might be a good idea. But sadly it didn't really work out. Both machines broke really relatively quickly, and even though I did try to use my bombs and the skulls in hopes of finding an AWAS rune or something like that, it just didn't want to come, and I just decided to end the run there with 24,000 points in total. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you look at my score and my damage penalty and maybe some other things I could have done, I could have looked at something like the 25,000 points score, which would have been pretty relatively different to what I have now and would probably have ranked me better. But I can't complain too much. It's a month's daily. There's not much that you can really do in this situation other than try your best. We played well, we got to the end, we completed every objective. Sure, we should have used that sacrifice room on the caves one like I usually do, but I didn't have enough health, so I really couldn't go that route. But of course the people who did would end up with a higher score, and that's exciting. I feel like we need some of these dailies to kind of remember what makes good dailies, and this one obviously was not that good, but then again I can't say it was too bad either. At least it was enjoyable, I had a lot of fun, and so I hope you did as well. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.